This episode is brought to you by GoDaddy and Gamefly. Hey guys, and welcome to the second ever episode of Food Mob. Now, we had an unbelievable response to the show last week where we cooked poached eggs and lovely little pancakes. Loads of people sending in their photos, talking to us on Twitter. Really good interactive buzz. We're going to share some of those with you in a second. Today, we are cooking one of the all-time brilliant dishes, which is a perfect steak. So many different ways to cook steaks and recipes. We're going to show you the only way that you end up with the most absolute succulent, gorgeous steak. I'm going to take a look at some of these great pictures that we got in from last week, starting off with this, what I think is the best one, submitted on Flickr by Graham Hancock. You can see absolutely stunning. To be honest, he's actually made it better than we did. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Obviously a keen photographer as well. Loads of examples of poached eggs, and the thing to remember, any recipes that we cook here on the show, submit your photos. We want to see how you get on at home, not just the good versions. If it's a complete and utter disaster and there were a couple, send those in as well. So that's a nice looking poached egg sent in there by Beep Code, nice and runny as you can see. Next one by the Skoda. If you look there, blueberries, a little bit of maple syrup looks like they've got on top, absolutely gorgeous looking. So people have really got sort of involved and interactive. I can see on Twitter, David Paliwada, nice show, always a fan of poached egg for breakfast. He's got a question. If there's foamy water on top, does it mean that it's boiling too much? It does indeed. Turn that temperature right down. This is for the poached eggs, and just simmer it over nicely. If you've got all those bits on top, it means it's cooking too fast. Also had a question in from Turco64. Is the keyword vinegar, or does it have to be white wine vinegar? White wine vinegar is the best. You could use maybe a little bit of cider vinegar. Don't use something like balsamic for poached eggs. It'll just turn the water black, so go with your white wine vinegar. Lots of other questions and great interaction there. People sending in their photos, and that's what we want. Flickr. Email them into us at foodmob@revision3.com. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/foodmobtv, and just basically send in all those ingredients. So what we're going to do today, enough about last week, we're going to show you how to cook the perfect steak. Now the guys behind are absolutely dying for this. Are you excited, Aaron? Rob?
Very.
I think everybody likes steak. You find very few people out there who don't actually like steak. We're cooking what would be considered the sort of Rolls Royce or the best type of steak today, fillet steak. Now we're going to take these little pieces here, which is just a little bit of sinew or fat around the outside. If you cook that the way it is at the moment, what will happen is it'll actually contract up. So many people go out and eat steak in restaurants, and you know the way it's absolutely mouth-watering, and you cut through it and it just falls off the knife. Absolutely gorgeous. Very hard to replicate at home for the home chef. So many people have asked me how to do this. Today we're going to show you. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So just trim those little bits of fat away. It's not really rocket science. Like all the recipes here on the show, we want to keep them simple. We don't want to do anything that nobody can do at home. There's all the ingredients I'm using. They're very straightforward. What I actually did earlier, we're going to serve some potato wedges with this. So really simple potato wedges. Put them in because they do actually take about 40 minutes. So you want to make those in advance. All I did, chopped up these type of potatoes here, which are nice big red potatoes. Chopped them up, popped them into the oven with a little bit of olive oil, a little dusting of Cajun, a little dusting of chili, and some salt and pepper. Now hold back the chili if you don't want them spicy. I personally think you should have a real nice kick to your wedges, and they're 100 times better than any of that crap that you buy in like bags that are frozen in advance. Just make them fresh. So much nicer. Back to our steak. One tip that I'm going to give you straight up, we're going to cook these steaks medium rare. So that means nice and sort of pink in the middle, just a little bit of blood running out of the center. So to do that, you've got to bring it up to room temperature, because if you start with that piece of meat that is really cold, what's going to happen is it's going to cook on the outside, but it's still going to be sort of raw in the middle. So what we want to do is make sure the steak is completely even and brought up to room temperature. Should take about 20 minutes. Now the next thing that we're going to do, and this is what makes it taste so much better in restaurants, is we're going to season it really well. So generous with the salt. I don't know about you guys, but how do you like your steak, Aaron?
Yeah, rare.
Rare? Rob?
Burnt.
Burnt? Cool, so we're gonna change Rob's opinion. In our opinion, you should only really eat steak sort of real black and caramelized on the outside, but nice and pink in the middle. So that's what we're looking for today. Generous with a cracked black pepper. Nice drizzle of olive oil. Now, as I was saying, Keep the photos coming. I want to see your steaks, how they turned out this week. Loads of people last week wrote in and emailed and said they'd never tried cooking before. They maybe wanted to make poached egg, but had never done them before. And some of the, it actually really blew me away to look at some of those efforts of people out there who've never cooked before, sending in pictures of them poaching eggs. That's why we do the show. Same this week. I want to see your steaks. Show me how good they are. Cook them for somebody special. If you do it this way, you're going to be absolutely laughing. I always use my hands when I'm cooking. Just make sure to give them a good wash before you do anything. But it really is the best way to sort of massage in that salt and pepper. Now, as that steak marinates in the salt and pepper, I'm going to turn a large skillet pan, which you can see there on, and we want to get that up to a really high temperature. That's the key. Those little grid marks I'll talk to you about in a second. But as that steak comes up to the room temperature, I'm going to talk about our first sponsor today, which is Gamefly. So Gamefly is the largest online video rental service and offers you a choice from over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. If you go to gamefly.com/foodmob, you'll be able to support the show that way. And it really is a great service. I don't know if you guys have used Gamefly here. Don't actually have it here. So it's based in the States. The idea behind it is you actually get posted out the games a couple at a time. There's no late fees. Means you don't have to go and buy games. You're talking about buying a game there, Rob?
Yeah, I just bought Resident Evil 4 for the Wii.
Resident Evil 4 for the Wii. I'm not actually a gamer myself, but the guys are big gamers, and I think it's a great way of getting sort of cheap games rather than go and spend $50 on a game. Get it mailed out to you, send it back whenever you want. Great sponsor, and we're really happy, and please go and help support the show, because that's how how these things are funded. So we're going to move on to our steak now. Key is, as I was saying, skillet pans. This is a skillet pan here. You'll see these lines going across it. Chargrill pan, depends what part of the world you're in, different names. Now we're going to get this up to a massive temperature. That's the key, to get that sort of golden brown, nice griddle marks on the outside. Needs to be really high. You do have to be wary that this is going to sort of create a lot of smoke in your apartment or house or wherever it is you live. So open a couple of windows. Get ready. It's only going to take about 3 or 4 minutes of real smokiness, but it is worth it. It's how you get that sort of real nice char grill flavor on it, and it's very, very important stage. Cannot be hot enough. So, coming up to the boil. If you want to, it's not coming to the boil, it's coming up to proper temperature. Real nice and hot. Just your hands on top. You can see little bits of smoke coming. And now listen to this. This is, Aaron, come over here and see if you can get this sound. This is what you want to hear when your steak hits the pan. If it's not making that noise, forget about it. You want that searing heat on the outside. So just pop those in. And now the key, where a lot of people go wrong, is they put the steak in and they panic, right? They're at home, they don't really know how to cook. They're like, fuck, I need to turn it, I need to mess with it, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to touch that now for 2 minutes, right? I'm just going to leave it there. No matter how much smoke or how hot it gets, what we're looking for is those lovely grilled lines that you can see across the steak. You know the way when you see like an Applebee's ad, or like a steak ad, they've got those grilled lines. That's exactly what we're looking for. So 2 minutes, super high heat. Wedges are in there, they're still about 5 minutes off. One thing that I do want to do is I want to serve it up with a salad today. There's, tons of ways that you can serve steak. Some people like it with fries, some people like it, with mashed potato. I'm just going to keep it real simple with our lovely wedges, which you'll see in a second, are golden brown. And I'm going to serve a simple rocket salad. Use baby spinach, baby jam, whatever salad you want to use. You can see the smoke coming up everywhere. Don't panic. Fire alarm's probably going to go off in your place. Don't worry, put something over it. Remember to turn it back on afterwards. Now, salad. I like to keep it simple. I don't want any big, heavy, sort of complicated dressings. A little bit of olive oil, a little sprinkle of salt, grind of black pepper. You can't tell me that this is something that you can't do at home. It's so ridiculously easy. Let's just have a peek at our steaks. They've been on there for 2 minutes. Now, if I show you a close up, you can see those lovely grill marks. That's exactly what we're looking for. Very important. Turning it at a 90-degree angle. So when we turn it at a 90-degree angle, what's going to happen is crisscross marks on the outside. Looks really well, very nice for presentation, and you're getting incredible flavor in there. 2 more minutes, not touching it again, just leaving it. Toss your salad together, very simple. Keeping it light on the dressing. You can see that if you put too much dressing on your salad, it's just going to wilt. Really light, just lightly tossed, and we're just going to pop that onto our plate. just like that. Something that I like in my rocket salad that really sort of spices it up is a little bit of Parmesan. I'm just gonna do a few little lumps. Real good. Taste that. Just get a nice little block of Parmesan. So tasty. Pop it up on top. Just adds a little something extra. Good food is about simplicity and good ingredients. You guys can do it now. There's absolutely no reason not to be making this. Back to our steaks. Flipping them over. Watch this. You're going to be blown away by how nice it looks. Already starting to look like something you could get in a restaurant. Looks absolutely amazing. Again, 2 minutes on each side. Smoke really starting to kick in now, so you want to make sure you've got your extraction fan on, your windows open. Totally worth it though. Let's have a look at our wedges. I'm going to pull them out of the oven. Now wedges, like I said earlier on, pop them in. A little bit of oil, chili powder, Cajun seasoning. Just make sure they're not sticking to the tray. During the cooking process, maybe sort of dig them off the tray because they can stick a little bit, but if I taste one of those, I can guarantee fiery and delicious. Right, steak starting to cook up real nicely now. At this stage, we're going to turn the temperature off. The neighbours are going to be delighted because the smoke stopped. I think they've gone off and called the fire brigade. What we're going to do at this stage, the most important process, if you remember one thing from cooking this steak, do this. We're taking it off, we're going to rest it, okay? So what happens when you cook a steak? Very simply, just let me get rid of that because it's smoking. What happens with a steak is it's a very hot temperature and your piece of meat hits the pan, okay? So when it hits the pan, it tenses up and sort of gets into a ball like that. So if you can just imagine it just getting tense because of that sort of intense heat. At the same time, it's cooked it. But if I served that immediately right now, it would still be sort of tense and really sort of robust and all the sinews would be tight. What we're gonna do, and this is what makes a difference in all restaurants, and please do this, is rest it for about 3 minutes. It's not gonna get cold, it's still gonna stay warm. You can maybe cover it with a little bit of tin foil, but what's gonna happen is that meat is gonna relax. And when meat relaxes like that, it just sort of lets all the juices flow. And believe me, you've probably heard people talking about it before, but it is the most important process in the whole cooking the perfect steak. I think you can admit that it's starting to take shape already. Nice big, generous portion of wedges. Those wedges are going to blow your head off, Aaron. Happy about that?
Yeah.
Have you guys cooked steak before?
I've tried it, yeah.
Success?
No.
But like watching what I've just done, there's no way that you can't do that, is there? If either of you actually had girlfriends or anything, you could, oh, you've got a girlfriend, don't you? You could go and cook it for them. Cook it for whoever is your special person in your life, and they'll absolutely love you. So, steak on there. I'd serve it just like that. If I was doing it for my mates, I'd just serve it up on top, and you can see it looks absolutely amazing. It doesn't need a sauce, right? If the meat's good enough, why go and put a big heavy buttery creamy sauce on top? You just don't need it. I'm going to cut into the center of it just to show you. So we've got that beautiful sort of golden brown exterior. Now look at the center of that, Aaron. Can you see that on close up? How good does that look? Now, just a few nice little strips. I'm going to just have a little taste myself because it'd be rude not to. I've never tasted anything like it. I'm telling you, that is incredible steak-wise. Little up on top like that. Now bring that out to your mates and serve it, because believe me, that's going to be a dish that they're going to be talking about for months and months and months. Send your photos in of that, because I'll be really interested to see if you can get that lovely medium rare down the center and that gorgeous caramelization on the outside. It's the perfect steak. Now, as you tuck into that, Aaron, he's looking at me like, when can I fucking come and taste it? Absolutely starving. Rob, jump in as well. You don't even want forks, do you? Really good. As the guys tuck into that, I'm going to tell you about our next sponsor, which is GoDaddy.com. So check out revision3.com/GoDaddy for a list of all the amazing GoDaddy deals from Revision 3. Now, it's a great way of supporting the show. Great offers on there. If you type in MOB1, you get 10% off any order. MOB2 gets you 5% off any order of $30 or more. Mob 4, for example, gets you 15% of any order of $75 or more. Great way to get domain names, pop up your own food websites or whatever it is you do online. GoDaddy.com, help support the show and go check out those deals now. Now I want to show you a little trick today. Got some beers. We're late coming up to the show, so we just grabbed these in the off license. They're still really warm, so you want to show you how to get this beer cold real fast. It's always a problem that you have at parties and stuff, and people wedge it into the fridge or bath or on ice or loads of different ways. I'm going to show you how to get beer cold in about 3 seconds. Big container, the biggest one I could find. Beer in at the bottom. The good thing about this is you can actually pop in as much beer as you want, so all the beer down in at the bottom. Next up, ice. Looks pretty normal so far, usual way of chilling it, but don't worry, this is going to be chilling beer super fast. Smash that in. Literally as much as you can possibly get. Now, beer and steak, no better combination. I think I'm giving you all the tools this week to have a party around a match or whatever it is coming up. Just invite your friends over. Now, full of ice. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up with loads of cold water. That's going to really accelerate things even further. All the way up to the top. Trying to encourage such casual eating with this type of food. I want you to sort of go and cook them, whack it out onto the table, just individual plates. Bring a big bucket, pop it into the middle of the table, and that's a great food experience for you. No fancy cutlery or anything like that, just good, honest, simple food and beers. So all the way up to the top. Right, so there, your beer's already getting cold, right? Now the last ingredient that's gonna sort of put it on steroids in terms of how cold it's gonna get it is salt. Now don't ask me why the salt makes it colder. Just, that is cold. Don't ask me why the salt makes it colder, but there's some sort of chemical reaction. Maybe a viewer out there knows it. I don't understand chemistry. I just know that it really goes cold very fucking fast. So just get loads of salt in there. Bring it together. Literally my hand's about to drop off. Feel that. It's literally cold already. Like you would actually drink that. That's insane, isn't it? Absolutely insane. So guys, I think we've given you all the tools this week to go and have an amazing party. We got steak that is mind-blowingly good, that'll sort of melt in your mouth. We want to see all your photos. So like anything you do, don't forget, if you get stuck on the recipe, because there's no harm, you could get stuck, you could forget to do something. We're always on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We are here to interact with you guys and make your job a lot easier of cooking this fantastic food. Go buy a ton of beers, get some nice steaks, splash out on the good ingredients, and you're really onto a winner with this week's recipes. That's it from Food Mob this week. Send us in your emails at foodmob@revision3.com. We're here to answer your questions. Hope you enjoyed the show. Go and cook perfect steak.